Ladies and fucking gentlemen, welcome to the Ashe Boi Podcast. Now, this is the first one of 2022. I'm enjoying this year. I've been grinding the work. I've been trying to earn all that money, doing what is best and supplying the goods for myself, of course. Because, look, I live by myself, Temporary, it could be 2-1, it could be 7-6, never know. So yeah, welcome to the Ashe Boi Podcast, everyone. I hope everyone's enjoying a superb week, taking those fucking masks off. Oh, the masks, you wear them, and for short term, it's alright, wear them in public transport, you take them off, that's alright. But then wearing them like more than 5 hours straight, you just get home and you just feel like vomiting. Yeah, that was the vibe, wearing that mask, including myself. When I was wearing it, I take it off, I was like, that's what I was doing. And that sucked. That sucked because when I wake up in the morning, it was just, it was crap. And who wants to hear crap on the Ashe Boi Podcast? Not me. We love beautiful content, and that's what I'm going to give you guys for 2022. It's a new beginning, a new chapter, a new year. And also, I highly recommend, if you haven't written your goals, I highly do that right this minute. As soon as you're watching this podcast, actually, if you're watching this podcast, put the podcast on while writing your goals. That is some alpha stuff. If you watch this podcast and writing down your goals, fuck yeah. So, first things first, what is a need and what is a want? Now, a need is something that you actually need. Shelter, food, water, and good finance, As long as you have those things, you should be all good. A want is something that you wish you needed, but it is still a want. Like me buying all those merch shirts, going to a lot of comedian shows, la-di-da. A need and want, they're two definitions. But I feel as though if people delve deep into what they want as a goal that they want to take. So if you want to achieve that goal, you say, I do. If you say, I want to achieve this goal, but maybe it could falter, it could. But if you use the words, I do, I want to do this, I want to achieve this, I am going to do it right this minute, I am going to do this week, man, the possibilities are endless. And just like last year, the possibilities were endless. I wrote down my goals in 2020. I got pretty teary writing those goals. It was pretty emotional. It was pretty deep, very deep, especially writing in your own journal. It's super deep. And then I went to each goal and put a time frame on it. And that time frame I use to achieve short-term goals within that goal. And within those short terms, I was just ticking all the boxes. And then, by the end of the year, by the time I had my first dose and second dose, all the goals, they were just going up. I think it's to do with once you get that second dose, boom, the symptoms. God, the symptoms. Went to a grand final. That's pretty lucky for me. Now, I feel very sorry for all the Victorians that have missed not having a grand final in Victoria in 2 years. It must happen in Victoria this year, okay? But if Eagles and Dockers make a grand final, then they can play at home. Because MCG and Optus Stadium are the two of the best stadiums in the world. Now, I've been to both. And controversially, Optus Stadium has better food. So it might get MCG fans fuming in the comment sections below, but this is just my own selfish opinion, so fuck you. Yeah, don't worry, I was just joking, you know. I was just saying a joke. It was pretty dark, but you know, that's just me. That's just me, yeah. So, about needs and wants. I need a fucking haircut. Look at all my hair. Look at this. What is that? So yeah, I am desperate for a haircut right now. And I booked one tomorrow actually, so it should be pretty snazzy, you know, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then once I'm out there, I'm just like, fuck yeah, look at me. I'll be looking snazzy on Wednesday, and then boom, I'm just going up. I'm just going up in the world. And that's all you got to do. You write down your goals. You put yourself out there to achieve those goals by doing what you love doing. That's how you're going to build connections. Now, building connections take time. You find your interests, and within those interests, you write your goals. And within those goals are the things that you love. And then you meet the people that have similar interests to you. And then you build that rapport and you become friends with them. Then you hang out. And then you become endless in friendships. And that's what I've done. I built those connections because I put the energy and I put in the time to achieve goals that meant that those long-term circumstances would be achieved, especially with this whole catastrophe, you know. We're being controlled, and that sucks. But there's one person that will always be there, and that is me. So, if you need anything, if you're struggling, if you don't feel like yourself, or you need someone to talk to, you can message me at legend_ace2k22. You can check out my TikTok channel, which is ash.huff. I'll be putting up more clips tonight, and then those clips are going to go onto the Ashe Boi Clips channel, which go and chuck a follow. And then I'll be putting up my own podcasts on my own channel, because I need those subs going up. I have about 85% of people that haven't subscribed. So please, if you love the Ashe Boi Podcast and if you love my TikTok videos, please subscribe. I'm only going to go up from here, because in the next few months, I'm going to be 20. And that is scary, because I still got to fucking sort out my life by getting my P's, because I've been super slack. But that's only because I've been achieving a lot of goals and I had crazy stuff going on. So, new year, new goals and new aspirations. That's what I'm just talking about. But there's one thing that I haven't mentioned, and that was new aspirations. Now, I want to inspire people to do what they love. Do what you love doing. That's all I'm going to say. If you love sport, do sport. If you love singing, do singing. Do whatever the fuck you want, as long as you write down what you want to achieve. Even if it's visual form, even if it's on notes on your phone, in a journal, even in your own head. Even video recording your goals and then listening to your goals while yourself is talking. That is truly special. That way, you can do the things that you love doing, and you can meet those people and you can meet those connections and build strong friendships and strong relationships of the people that want to see you be happy and loved, and through that you show your kindness and show your personality, because there's a lot of people out there that are quite selfish sort of individuals that just think for themselves. Now, am I one of those people that think for themselves? No. But there's one thing that I do is that I do self-care. Self-care is super important. If you have a negative thought that's triggering you, self-care. Self-care. You know? The best medicine, self-care. And the most important thing before you put others first is you put yourself first, based on how you are as a person mentally, physically and socially. If all your criteria, 33%, 33% and 33% recurring, all three, socially, physically and mentally. If you are at that 99%, then you can bring happiness to the world. If one of those barriers is not going as well as it should, then work on it. Get the professional help that you need. Talk to people that actually care for you. Don't talk to the people that put you down or laugh at you. The people that love you are the people that are always behind your back. People that love who you are, and they also laugh with you. Now, as you just seen, in probably about 12-minute, 44 mark, I probably mispronounced some words, but that's because sometimes at night my words comes out and it just does that. So, I did talk about New Year, new goals, new aspirations. So, recently on a recent podcast, the P&C lads, go and check them out, they're mad. They talked about which side of the river is better, north of the river and south of the river. Now, I'm north of the river, and I'm super lucky that I live north of the river, because I've been out in the south of the river and it is nothing to do. There's just Carousel and Freo. Now Freo, beautiful place, love going there. Then you got like sort of the southern coastal suburbs like Coogee. I can't even think on the top of my head. Maybe Spearwood, Bibra Lake, they're great. Bigton, yeah. But as soon as you go inland, it's just roads and houses and more houses and high rises and more houses. And then once you hit Northbridge and that sort of area, holy crap, there's coffee places every corner. There's hairdressers every corner. There's people walking their dogs every corner. There's people saying, good morning, how are you? Yeah, every corner. You can have a conversation. It's just the vibe, you know? I feel quite privileged living north of the river, you know, growing up in Claremont and then going through some of the western suburbs, and then now where I am, it is great. But yeah, if you are south of the river and you think south of the river is good, comment below and you can ditch my opinion. But north of the river has the beaches, and if you keep going off the north coast and you're going up Joondalup ways, Little Britain. And that's even good as well. But north has its falls, and that's when you go northeast, and you end up in the middle of nowhere, and there's nothing out there. So yeah, northeast, no, nothing out there. So yeah, that's the end of the North River chat. So I thought we need to delve deep into the AFL season. We need to start early, and we got to start with a massive bang of me predicting the AFL ladder. Too early to call. Now, I got my ladder here, okay? And I'm going to go through each team 18th to 1st, and I'm going to be detailing why I put them in that position. Now, everyone has a different opinion to me in terms of ladder predictions and what teams are going to do well or not. But this is just my rough estimate of how I think each team will go. This could be affected also during the season based on injuries and sickness and concussion. So this is just my too early to predict predictions for the AFL season. So I'm going to start off first with a team that I feel came off this off season as being a massive disappointment. And that team is Hawthorn. Hawthorn. After winning 3 premierships, they've just, in a row, 2013 to 15, and then they've just, they just plummet. And I feel they're going to plummet this season. Even though that they got James Sicily back, and they're going to start playing youth, and even though they got that new manager, Sam Mitchell, the off-field controversy puts me off Hawthorn, especially what they did with Alistair Clarkson. I don't think that was cool. I don't think that was good enough for them. The fans will be pretty upset, but I feel Hawthorn will probably only win about 5 to 6 games this year. I don't see them becoming competitive until mid-season, just like how North were competing. But I do see them progressing in the next few years, maybe to a 12th and 11th, and we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I feel some of their players are getting too old and too reckless and making super dumb decisions. So that is Hawthorn. Now, 17th, I've got the Gold Coast Suns. Now, Gold Coast, what are you doing? You get rid of Hugh Greenwood like a bag of lollies. Can't do that. You can't just give a player that was super important at Adelaide Crows and you just give them away to North. Wow. If Gold Coast don't do anything, I don't know what's going to happen with that team. I honestly don't. Gold Coast is made for rugby league. It's a rugby league, rugby union state. Is it an AFL state to say? Brisbane, yeah. Gold Coast, not really. It's a party state. It's a rugby league state. AFL state, not really. Should they move to Tasmania? Not really. But if they do make a better impact and they do finish at least 12th, at least they've done something. But at the moment, I've got them at 17th. I've lowered my expectations with Gold Coast, and if they exceed my expectations, that's okay. If they're 14th, they've exceeded my expectations. So we'll see what happens with Gold Coast. Now, 16th place, I've got Collingwood. Now, Collingwood's an interesting one, as a lot of people are predicting that they got the worst list in the AFL. Do I agree? Kind of. With all the controversy that came out with one of their players, who I will not name and will remain anonymous, and also the CEO will remain anonymous. I feel as though Craig McRae is going to make sure these younger kids will get some games, especially Nick Dacos. Now, are they going to surprise some teams? Maybe. But that all depends on how their team functions, because they're going to put some younger talent in, like Finlay McRae, the Brown brothers, Jack Magden, Bo McCreary, those type of players. Will they surprise some teams? Maybe, but I'm not sure. I've got them at 16th at the moment. They could be wooden spooners. They could be a surprise packet. I don't know about Collingwood. But do I see them improving the next couple of years? Yes. I see the coach having a lot of potential, but I don't know. This is just my opinion, but hopefully he does well for the club, but we'll see. 15th, Adelaide Crows. Now, Adelaide Crows, how would I describe them last season? They beat Melbourne, they beat Geelong, but they lost to so many other teams. God. The only reason why they did so well early in the season was because of Taylor Walker. As soon as Taylor Walker was taken out of the team, no talent. There was nothing in the forward line. And then once they brought in Riley Fieldthorpe, man, different dynamic in there. Now they've got a lot of young talent. Now they could finish 12th. They could finish 14th, but I've got them at 15th. But I see the potential of what Adelaide's defence can do. Jordan Dawson in the team, if he has a big impact for the Crows, we partner up with Rory Lade, geez, they'll be good. They'll be pretty good. And if they, start surprising teams like Geelong and Melbourne again, holy dooly. Wait until the next 5 years, they could make an impact. They got all these young players and it's pretty good. Still got them 15th, but they could finish above the bottom four, even 14th. But 14th place, and I feel they won't make wooden spooners. If they do, I'll choke on my own words, and that is North Melbourne. Smart getting Jason Horne-Francis as your number one pick. And with the club not being in debt, with the foundations laid, and I saw them play mid-season, they could be a good potential team. The likes of Jaden Stevenson, Jason Horne-Francis, and Todd Goldstein, and Jake Zeeble, they can lead the club to a success story. And if Nick Larkey doesn't get injured and starts kicking goals, I can see North surprising some teams like West Coast. And that could be a super big impact that could potentially, North Melbourne could be a surprise packet in the next couple of years. And I can see that. I can see the dynamic of some of these youngsters that can go right in to the top 8. And even though they were wooden spooners last season, that mid-season thing, incredible. Absolutely incredible form. And I respect how North played during the mid-season. They had some good wins. And even some of their losses, they could have won those games. So we'll see what North Melbourne does. Now, 13th, Richmond. It's going to be pretty controversial. Richmond. Now, everyone's predicting them to bounce way back, and they could. But they've got a lot of talented draft picks that could make them go to the top 8. But I've just wanted to lower my expectations, and I put Richmond at 13th. Now, is it a drop from last season? Yes. But I feel as though they're going through a phase with their old players retiring. I feel once Trent Cotchin and Jack Rewa retire, they're going to go through a new phase of Richmond Tigers. You know, they've drafted in some couple of talented players. You got Tom Brown, Tyler Zonzi, you drafted him. There was this other guy who I've forgotten his name, but he's also pretty talented. And also there's another Josh who I've completely forgotten, but Josh Gimkus. Now, are they going to make a big impact? Hopefully. But do I see Richmond becoming a top 8 side just yet? 50-50. Now, I've got them at 13th. It's just because I'm not sure how Dustin Martin's going to play. Is he going to be the same player as we saw a couple of years ago? I don't know. We'll wait and see on that. 12th. Now, St Kilda rely on one player, and that's Jake Steele. That's why I put it on 12th. Now, St Kilda got a lot of good players, and then they got a lot of fringe players. The balance there, a bit leaky. They're very inconsistent. They're a team that can have a really good win and then the next week get smashed by 90 points against Essendon, for example, and it's pretty terrible. I've got a lot of St Kilda fans in Melbourne, and you know, they want to see St Kilda go back to where they were in 2020, but just the competition is going to be super close, and I'm really not sure how they're going to go. Are they going to improve? Is Jake Steele going to lead them into a top 8 finish again, or are they going to be left disappointment? It's hard with St Kilda because they could be finishing between 6th to 12th. I put them in 12th, but I won't be surprised if they finish 9th or 10th. Coming at number 11th, and with a new coach in hand, I think they might improve, but don't get me wrong on my hopes. Carlton. Now, new coach, new beginning. Now, there's a lot of Carlton fans out there. They want to see Carlton make the top 8. Last season was supposed to be that season, but they were just left disappointment with the inconsistencies of the Carlton Football Club, and some of their losses that they lost was pretty crap. Now, I feel as though Patrick Cripps was playing injured, but their midfield brigade now, if Cripps is back to his own form, you got the likes of Sam Walsh in there, a star in the making. And them getting Adam Shearer in the team, in the midfield, he'll be a good dynamic for Cripps. Walsh, Shearer, and Cripps. It's a pretty good dynamic. If Adam Sard plays really well, they'll be good. But there's a lot of Carlton players that are very, very inconsistent and just play there so they can play for Carlton. You got players, a lot of Fisher players, a lot of Cunninghams, a lot of Pinnets, you know, Plowmans, a lot of those players. And if they need to really step it up to make the top 8 again, because we haven't seen Carlton make the top 8 since 2013. It's been 9 years now. If they don't make the top 8 this year, they have to make it next year, or most Carlton fans are going to be left pretty disappointed. Now, this one could be quite controversial. Now, I don't know if this team will finish 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th or 10th, but I've gone with the West Coast Eagles. Now, I can see them finishing in the top 8, but I also can see another team finish 8th, and it was between those teams and they could finish whatever spot. I have good expectations for West Coast Eagles, but the way they played in the late half of the season was pretty disappointing. Probably one of the most disappointing teams that I watched after their historic win against Richmond on my first shift at Optus. As soon as they lost to North Melbourne, I was really shocked about how Eagles played. Got a lot of old players going through their last year. Is it this year that Eagles will need to play for Josh Kennedy and Shannon Hearn? Is that the time? Is Willie Rioli and Greg Clark going to make a huge impact? Even Campbell Chesser, is he going to make a big impact? Even the draft picks like Bazzo and what's his face? Bradley Huff, is he going to be some stars? Is players like Luke Foley and Alex Witherden going to take the reins of the defence since Brad Shepherd retired? So I've got Eagles at 10th. I won't be surprised if they're 7th on the ladder, but I won't be surprised if they're even bottom 4. But we'll wait and see on that. The next team that I've got just missing the 8. Now, it could be the team that I go for, but I feel because, I don't know, I just got this feeling. This team always makes the top 8 when I feel that they might go down. But I've got them on 9th place. But I can see them being 4th, I can see them being 7th. And that is GWS. Now, has GWS made a big impact last season? Yeah. But it's the inconsistency thing again. Win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. GWS last season was the hardest team to tip because every time I thought they would win, they would lose. And every time I thought they would lose, they win. Exactly when they beat Melbourne and stuff like that. It's pretty controversial. Now, because Toby Green's going to miss some games, they might start off slow, but they could surprise a lot of teams in terms of their young players and the captains that they got now. Josh Kelly is leading that team, and Stephen Colanio can really make a bigger impact for GWS. And if they don't have too many injuries, like Lockie Whitfield and stuff, I can see them being either 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. I can see them 9th, just missing out. But if they keep winning, they'll do good. 8th spot. Now, I've got huge potential for this team, but I'm going to put them at good expectations because I don't want to set my bar high, otherwise I'm just going to be left disappointed. I got the Freo Dockers. Now, Freo, you need to make the finals with Justin Longmire. You need to make the final. Dockers fans, I'm telling you right now, manifest that, because the amount of draft picks that you picked in this year's draft and the previous drafts are going to make a huge impact coming forward. Jai Amos, Niall Erasmus, and one of the biggest potential players, Matthew Johnston, are going to make a huge impact. Sean Darcy could be one of the best ruckmen in the competition other than Max Gawn. He played better than Brodie Grundy. And when I was watching the Geelong and Freo game, even though Freo were getting absolutely smashed, Sean Darcy was Freo's best player. And if their team can work well with Nat 5 not playing in the team, he can play some games, but if he's missing out, Mundy is still playing like a 25-year-old. You got Brayshaw, and you got all these talented young midfielders in your team, and you got Liam Henry. You got one of the best defence in the team, but it's all about winning those games that you need to win, like beating your St Kildas, beating your Carltons, beating your GWS, and beating Eagles at the Derby. Again. And is that going to leave fans of Eagles disappointed? Yes. But I could see the Dockers and Eagles Derby this season being one of the closest derbies in history. It could come down to a goal. And I have potential for Dockers. If they win a final, damn, they have exceeded my expectations. Now, 7th. This team I've got pretty good expectations for. They could even be the surprise packet for the top 4, and that is Essendon. Essendon, they absolutely exceeded my expectations last season. I had them around 14th, 15th. They finish in the top 8, and wow. Like, them drafting Nick Cox and that build-up with Archie Perkins and all those youth coming in, like Jake Stringer being super fit and Darcy Parish having a bigger impact. Without Danaher, they've done really well. They've absolutely exceeded my expectations. I've got pretty good expectations for Essendon coming into this season. They just got to be a little bit more competitive for the top teams like Bulldogs and Brisbane and even Geelong. If they can surprise those teams, they could be a surprise packet for a prelim. I would love to see Essendon win a final. They haven't won a elimination final in so long. Like, so long. Like, they're one of those teams that either finish between 7th and 14th. They either left in the disappointment zone or left disappointed in the finals by getting knocked out in the elimination final. I want them to make a semi-final, and if they do, mint condition. Now, 6th place. Now, I put this team at 6th place because I feel they're going to be playing for one player and one player only. And in the first couple of rounds, I hope Buddy Franklin kicks 1,000 goals, and I've got Sydney Swans coming in at 6. They also exceeded my expectations last season. During the season, they did super well early in the season. They even beat Geelong, and Todd Pabley was a star, and all those younger players started playing really good. Another pre-season for like Logan McDonald, Braden Campbell, and even Earl Gordon, and they will start playing like stars this season. They got a lot of young talent. James Rowbottom. Their ruckman, Tom Hickey, holy crap, 3rd best ruckman in the competition. Honestly, he was a star for Sydney Swans. Probably the most underrated player in the whole competition. Now, he wanted to go back home, and Eagles let him go, which was fair. He wanted to go back home. He made a huge impact for the Sydney Swans. They never had a proper ruckman since probably Mike Pike and Shane Mumford when they were in the team. I'm not sure who was like the other ruckman, but can't think of the ruckman on top of my head, but they've done well, you know. I mean, they had Callum Sinclair, but he's getting near his days. Tom Hickey, surprise packet. I did not expect him to play that well, and he did so well. And Florent, Star, there's just so many youngster stars that I want them to win a final, but I'm keeping them at good expectations because youngsters, they can have a couple leaky games, but I've had potential for Sydney Swans finishing around 6. Now, 5th. This team has lost a grand final. I could see this team being one of the surprise packets that drop out because of the grand final hoodoo. I got them at 5th, but I could see them potentially being 8th or 9th. That is the Western Bulldogs. A lot of stuff has come out of Bulldogs. They've just had, huge disappointing loss at the grand final. That mental spark, are they going to start playing really good again? We'll see what happens. Is Adam Chalor, if he plays like what he did in the grand final, they'll make the top 8. If Adam Chalor gets more midfield time, they'll play in the top 8. Marcus Bontempelli, midfield forward. But then you got Bailey Smith, and condolences to you. I hope you're doing all okay and stay well, man, because you're a talented player and you honestly deserve all the best. There's a lot of players in the Western Bulldogs that are absolutely talented. Cody Waitman is just going to instantly improve, I reckon. Jamar O'Hagan, another preseason in his belt. He's going to get more regular games. And Josh Gracie, that he used to be a forward, but he's gone into the defence. He did really well. He was one of the surprise. He changed his career because he was one of the top 5 draft picks, and he was quite lackluster. I didn't know if he was going to get delisted or not. Went to the Western Bulldogs, thought, oh crap, and then he saved his career mid-season. And he changed position into the defence. Superb player. Is Aaron Norden going to play as a defender or forward? And I don't know, because they've got a number 3 draft pick, which is Sam Darcy. And we could see more potential with that. I could see them finishing in the top 4. I can see them finishing in the bottom 4 of the top 8. But I could see Bulldogs, they could make a prelim. Do I see them in a grand final? 50-50. But I don't know. My predictions could be wrong. Now, the team I got 4th. My team, Geelong Cats. I see my team, they could be 10th, they could be 8th. I don't know. We've never missed a finals since 2015, and between when we won the premiership in 2007 to 2021, we've only missed that one final series in 2015. When's my team going to drop? I don't know, because we just got all these talented players that are old. It's like Dad's Army. And later in the season, we really dropped in form. Really dropped. When Tom Stewart got injured, really dropped. That was hard. That was hard to watch. My team playing 50 to 40%. That's not the Geelong way, Early in the season, we got criticised early in the season for playing too slow. Then we picked up a gear. We proved, hey, we're top of the ladder. And then we sort of dropped off a bit, round 21, 22, 23. The most important rounds, not to drop off, and we dropped off. And even in that last game when we played against Melbourne, holy shit, we were winning by how many points? 50 something points, and we lost by a goal after the siren. When's my team going to drop? I don't know. But do I see my team being in grand final? Yes. But do I see my team like losing in a semi-final or prelim again? Yeah. Because I feel there's another team that potentially is going to be in a grand final, maybe beat the reigning premiers, but I don't know. I don't know about Geelong. I've got them at 4th at the moment, but they could finish between 4th and 10th. I don't know, but we have to wait and see. Now, the team that I got in 3rd is Port Adelaide. Now, Port Adelaide, they were quite inconsistent at the start of the season, like last year. But then they started playing super good, but the only reason why they started playing super good, they had a really easy fixture later in the season. And they were smashing teams, for sure. They even smashed Geelong in the qualifying final. Leah, probably one of the best defenders and most improved player that I've seen ever play. Every time someone would kick it inside 50, Leah, he will mark it. He'll mark the ball, superb, and if there was a rush behind, it'll be Leah. Absolute star, huge potential for Leah. And then you got players like Connor Rosie, Xavier Dersma, Zach Butters. They stay fit, huge potential. Scott Lysette, great in the ruck. Ollie Wines, Brownlow medalist, great player. Robbie Gray, still great player. But the player that I was most disappointed about in Port Adelaide's team was Charlie Dixon. Man, what are you doing? Dixon is a tall forward, and if you're not doing your role properly and you're trying to choke a player out, you will face the consequences. But that creates excitement for the footy because you've got a character in there. But you need the talent too, because he's one of those players that can kick 5 goals and then next week kick 5 behinds. So if he kicks goals, it'll be good. The defence, amazing. Led by Jonas, Eamon and Leah. Just mwah. But do I see Port losing a prelim? Probably. They're one of those teams that you think, oh, they could make the grand final, and then left disappointed. The team that I've got top of the ladder will be Melbourne Demons. Melbourne Demons, because it's a grand old flag in the red and blue. And will they win the grand final? Yes, they will. Yes, they will. Who can beat Melbourne? Like, I saw them play at the grand final at the Corporate Lounge, and holy crap, their team is superb. Every single player puts in 100% effort, and that potential is amazing. The whole team, every single player puts 100% effort. They've got a lot of WA talent in their team, and shout out to Jacob Van Ruin. I'm glad you got drafted to the best team in the AFL. Max Gordon's going to have a superb year. I've got super high expectations for Melbourne. I can see them winning a flag again. I can see the Melbourne dynasty becoming the best dynasty other than the Geelong dynasty, because the Melbourne dynasty I can see potentially be one of the best, because if that Melbourne team and the Geelong team of 2007, I feel as though the Melbourne team would have won that grand final. They're very similar teams. Christian Petrarca reminds me of a Jimmy Bartell player. Clayton Oliver reminds me of that Gary Ablett type player. And Bailey Friedrich, fuck, he's good. Ben Brown, going from a crap team and then winning a premiership, that is just superb. And I would be super happy watching two potential players making their debut for the Melbourne Demons. I want to see Jacob Van Ruin in Melbourne colours running down Optus Damon at the MCG in the defence, and I can see him potentially kicking a goal as well. And I want Magic Door to make a debut for Demons, and that would be super amazing. And the team that I got in second place is Brisbane. Brisbane, I have pretty solid expectations that they are the team to beat Melbourne. But could they beat Melbourne? 50-50. Brisbane were left disappointed in the semi-final because of all the injuries they had. Now, with Cam Raider coming back, Daniel McStay coming back, and if Lachie Neale has a really good season with Hugh McLaughlin, Zach Bailey, Joe Danaher has a better season in his belt, I could potentially see them beating a lot of teams. I could potentially see them going up. They need to meet the grand final. Their team that in the finals get too complacent. Brisbane need to win a qualifying home final again, just like in 2020, but not be left disappointed in that prelim. Brisbane have been waiting to win a grand final for nearly 2 decades. If they don't win this year, it'll be 20 years since they last won a premiership. And how about that for amazing premiership? For Brisbane to win a premiership and Lachie Neale potentially winning the Norm Smith medal. And then on the other hand, you got Melbourne Demons, and you could potentially see any single Melbourne Demons player winning the Norm Smith medal. And grand final prediction, I've got Melbourne Demons playing Brisbane. And I want Brisbane to sadly lose. Sorry, Brisbane. I've got Melbourne Demons winning at least by 24 points. Now, so I've done my too early to predict segment. I thought I'd just do a quick rundown that Scott Boland is a great bowler, superb. He does his job right. He's a star, he's a hero, and if he has a wife, mate, you're a lucky guy. And yeah, I think that's about it for the podcast, but thank you for everyone tuning in. I wanted to quickly update on something. I've been writing down some jokes for the first time, and I got some potentially good jokes that I'm going to say, but I want to polish them up first and see if I can put some content on TikTok and also put some, content on the YouTube that could be appropriate. But I want to polish them up and make them authentic jokes that could potentially be super funny. So stay tuned for that. And hopefully everyone has a great night tonight. And tonight, honestly, the sunsets were super beautiful. So hopefully everyone has a great night. Stay safe, much love, and stay tuned for the next poddy, which will be coming out when I'm free. So follow me on the Instagram at legend_ace2k22. Follow me on TikTok, ash.huff. And yeah, stay tuned and follow the Ashe Boi Podcast. Like, subscribe, share to all your family and friends that love podcasts. And if you're not a big podcast fan, you can watch the clips and TikToks because that is just popping up. Have a great night. Stay safe. Much love from Ashe Boi. Ow.